Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Deep Roots Movement. This is your brother Il Yassin. This is a message to all the true believers out there. Those who seek truth wholeheartedly. Always seeking to direct their lives toward the Qibla of compassion, mercy, kindness, forgiveness, justice, love. There is a little issue that I want to just quickly discuss, inshallah. That's the issue of tattooing. Tattoos and tattooing. So I noticed that a lot of Muslims, a lot of Christians have tatted up and are currently considering this. If you look at the broader prophetic tradition, going back to ancient times, one of which I believe that the Muslims are obligated to locate, to excavate, and to be truly, deeply knowledgeable about in a fair and accurate manner, tempered by a heart of mercy, compassion, loving kindness, a peacemaking and harmonizing mission. If you look at this broader prophetic tradition, tattooing seems to have been banned by the Bani Israel originally. Part of the reason for this was also why in Islam we traditionally do not tattoo. Now there are some cultural remnants, some of our Berber brothers and sisters out in the mountains, maybe the Atlas, etc. I know there are a number of areas where women still engage in a bit of facial tattooing, etc., etc. I'm not speaking to an ancient cultural practice as that at this moment. But what concerns me is tattooing is a vast industry right now, all across the world. You will see it all over. Tattoo parlors are rampant. There are a couple points that I wanted to bring up. First off, when it comes to tattooing, I want you to think just in purely practical manner. You are injecting an ink or an ink-like substance underneath the surface of the skin. In ancient times, this was traditionally made out of, minerals from rocks, or it was made from ash and plant material, something along those lines. Nowadays, however, you are dealing with synthetic inks in many cases. Synthetic inks and synthetic products, period, can cause massive problems for our short-term and long-term health. So what I want us to consider is that many of these tattoos, I'm concerned we're going to be facing a cancer epidemic, if we already have not, especially skin cancers from these synthetic inks. All right, because they go underneath the surface of the skin. We're not talking about organic plant matter. I know that some of you really serious culture hounds, people that are really looking to really explore the deeper levels of it all. Some of you may have gone and gotten organic plant derived inks, rock mineral derived inks. Obviously that's going to be a healthier option for someone who's going to go down that route. As Muslims, we are obligated to minimize harm in every instance because we are people of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So therefore, mercy and compassion we apply first to ourselves, to our bodies, which are derived directly from Adam alayhi salam. You're walking around in prophetic flesh, brothers and sisters. I don't know if you've ever considered that obligation and that responsibility. You are not merely the children of Adam. You are the conveyors of his very sacred clay. So, there is the sacredness of this clay. And this is going to bring us to a future video that I'm going to discuss, inshallah, the great cosmic court case. Iblis versus Adam alayhi salam and his progeny. This is a court case in which the adversary, the advocate, the accuser, is seeking to demonstrate to Allah that we are unworthy, that we are murderous and corrupters of the earth, and therefore he has done everything in his power to whisper into the ears of humans, to promise them eternal life and godhood in exchange for humiliating our Adamic flesh, desecrating it, corrupting the land of our body, the earth, this sacred clay, this sacred water, this ruh, and the dunya all around us, making it ugly, disgusting, polluted, toxic, desecrated. It's a murder, beginning with our bodies and our families and friends that they hurt, harm, and kill as blood sacrifice to their demon lords. This is real, brothers and sisters. You might be like, oh, that sounds like some fictional nonsense. Have you really read the Quran? Have you read about what they do in the darkness? Telling their secrets in dark corners, all seen, known by Allah, the knower, the hearer, the ever-present. Now, so we already discussed, we're to protect our clay. We're to protect our water. We're to protect our bodies. We're to protect our sense doors, our eyes, our ears, our tongues, our olfactory nerves, our skin, which is the interface with the sky. It's the sky of the body, the largest organ. People are defacing it, marking it up right now. You might be like, oh, that's cool art. The thing is, Satanists, one of the things they do is they hide satanic ritual under the guise of art and artistry. Those of you who seek truth know exactly what I'm talking about. The Rasputin of the age is one of those. Some of you might get what I'm hinting at. Now, when it comes to protecting this clay, tattooing, what is it? It is not merely art. First off, much of this art that's imprinted on the skin, these are occultic images that come from many different traditions around the world. Now, you might get into the issue of what people are labeling cultural appropriation, misappropriation, cultural theft, whatever. That's another discussion. That's not what I'm dealing with right now. What I'm dealing with is the issue of occultic symbolism and symbology. People are getting images imprinted on their clay related to death. So, for instance, death symbolism. Symbols of religions and spiritual traditions that they know nothing about. Things that seem very innocent and yet have deep meaning in other traditions, or that mean things to other species that are very much collaborating with certain elements of our human species and corrupting them. Now, when it comes to tattooing, one of the things that you will find is people traditionally did tattooing as a form of blood sacrifice. So the needlework, this is needlecraft. This is a type of blood release magic work. It's a ritual. This ritual, the releasing of blood to a demon lord in exchange for some benefit. Now you might say, oh brother, but I'm gonna get a tattoo. I got inked up. I wasn't sacrificing my blood to any demon lord. Astaghfirullah, I would never do that. Matter of fact, I even got some alims, some sheikhs that they got like little fatwas saying that it's okay, it's approved, or it's just makruh or something like that. All right, so let's look into this. Now, this needlework, this needlecraft, it might not be you who's dedicating the blood. Perhaps it's the tattoo artist, the tattooist, who's actually dedicating that blood to his demon lord or her demon lord. Consider this. If you notice, many tattoo parlors, I want you to look at death symbolism and the demonic satanic imagery that permeates them. This isn't all like, I'm gonna get a little dolphin on my ankle, I'm gonna get Tweety Bird tattooed up on my back for the young ladies, or Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, some innocent thing. Maybe I'm gonna get a beautiful tree imprinted on here. This is symbolic. I drew this myself. This is beautiful and holds deep meaning. I've got a picture of my grandma on me. All right, so I want you to consider that this is something that's perhaps this blood is being given and sacrificed to something else. Plus, you're exchanging money. If you look at cash money, especially like U.S. dollars, it's all magical sigils, magical symbolism on there. These are magical symbols from ancient Pharaonic Egypt, from ancient Babylon, Sumer. I mean, we're talking dark things from the ancient Canaanites, Baal and Moloch worship. It's dirty and it's dark. So we got one, the issue of potentially cancerous, toxifying materials being injected under the skin. Perhaps there's the issue of dirty needles. That's another issue. I think that right now that's been taken care of in most areas, and it's fairly sanitary. I think that the biggest issue is that we're talking about synthetic and toxic inks. We're talking about death and satanic imagery that's being imprinted on the body that has a resonance. For instance, there's the old, I don't know if you saw the Japanese experiment where the scientist was doing experiments with words and their impact on water. Speaking kind words, harsh words, and then under special, I believe, electron microscopes, high-powered microscopes, he was looking at the cellular structure, the energetic structure of the water. We are water beings, and whatever we are imprinted with, whatever we are chanting and reciting, has a vibratic impact upon our cellular structure and our subatomic level. So it's very important to consider this this potential positive or negative impact. You might say, well, I'm putting positive wording on me. Okay, well, then you still have the inks, and then you have the potential sacrifice issue. It might not be a conscious thing, but you might be exchanging magical symbols for magical symbols. Also, the people that you're going to do the tattooing might be far from righteous. They might be involved in dark rituals behind the scenes, outside of the workplace. You don't know what they're dealing with and what they're doing necessarily. So please consider this as a real potential issue. So we've got the potential health damaging effects to our epidermis, to our skin layer, to our bodily sacred Adamic clay, which we do not want to desecrate, but we want to protect, we want to honor, we want to uplift. The issue of the energetic vibratic imprint, the issue of the sacrifice of blood in the exchange for magical symbols, the issue of working with people that might be priests or priestesses in various occultic traditions. You know not who you're dealing with, brothers and sisters. This is a very, very dangerous time. Beware of what you put on your skin. Also, there's the potential damage that's done. So you say, hey, I can remove it now with lasers. So first off, you don't know the impact of that laser on your long-term skin health and bodily health. Secondly, we might be coming in a time where the electrical grids go down for periods of time, maybe long-term. Who knows what might happen? There are all kinds of rumors swirling about. Wars and rumors of wars, brothers and sisters. So we need to be aware of these issues. If it goes down, you might have the opportunity to remove that tattoo. You need to consider whose community do you belong to. And symbolism connects people in brotherhoods and tribes. Matter of fact, a lot of tattooing, it's a replacement for, they feel a lack in their heart. They don't feel a connection to their families, to their communities any longer, because we have very unhealthy family units right now, and communities, religious and non-religious communities, tribal and linguistic communities. This is by design. We've been systematically destroyed to the fullest extent possible. However, Allah preserves who He chooses to preserve. And if you have been making efforts to preserve your clay, to preserve your body, to preserve your sovereignty, your dignity, your integrity, then perhaps Allah has been communicating with you. Could this be? Let us consider this. Inshallah, you are healthy, you are happy, you are safe from all harm. You have my prayers with you. Please keep not just the Muhammadan Ummah in your prayers, but all of humanity and all of creation. Because right now, any toxicity that goes into any bodies is excreted into our greater environment and harms the ecosystems. This is all the Creator's magnificent interconnected creation. Everything's deeply interconnected, ecosystemically. Brothers and sisters, we have to think ecosystemically. This is very important. It's so interconnected. Everything that we think, say, and do actually matters. It's real. This is the real versus the false, the authentic versus the inauthentic, the true versus the untrue. I want us to consider these things strongly, wisely. We are called to be people of contemplation, people of critical thought. We are also people of intuitive reason. We need to have clean bodies, clean guts, clean hearts, clean brains in order to be able to read reality correctly. We are to be readers of reality, to see and to move, to flow. We are people of surrender to truth, submission to truth. Therefore, and we are water beings, we are to flow as water. We are to go into egoless flow states. In an egoless flow state, then truth moves through us. This is very important for you to recognize. So I need you to take this very seriously because we are in times of great danger. So please consider that you may not be able to remove these tats, this ink. It might have longer term ramifications and deeper ramifications than you might have considered. And it might also potentially exclude you from a community that you need when things get crazy, because you might be marked with something very dark. If you have satanic imagery, do you think that kind-hearted, loving people are going to trust you? Consider this. Consider this strongly. Also, there's another aspect of needlecraft, of needlework, of blood magic related to these needles that you need to consider that's in our current context. Taking in any toxins into our subdermal layers, into our arteries, our veins, our capillaries, into our genetic structures, very, very problematic. We do not want to purposely or accidentally mutate ourselves or transform ourselves or mark ourselves. Also, tattooing was used as a mark of ownership in ancient times. Now genes can be edited and altered and patented, so thereby corporations and organizations and individuals can actually claim ownership over people. We are to avoid enslavement, eliminate enslavement, minimize enslavement to the fullest extent possible. You are dearly beloved. You are greatly appreciated. Brothers and sisters, this is time to go into sujood, into sajda, into prostration. Draw near to your Lord, pour your heart out. Go into Toba and Tazkiyah, individually and collectively. We need to unify our energies in this manner. We are not just praying with one another in the musalla, in the masajid. We are praying with one another across space and time. When we stand, when we bow, when we sit, when we prostrate, and do so sincerely, seeking to draw near to our Lord. You are praying with your ancestors. You are praying with those across time and space who also surrendered to truth. Consider this, please. We are in deep danger. You are beautiful. You have so much potential. I honor the best within you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.